The heat is on across Kentucky. On a WDRB's Stefan Johnson tells us the impact the heat is having on high school athletics right now. Stefan?
Scott, it is hot. I bet you felt it when you were walking from the parking lot to the station today. And when it's this hot outside, imagine playing football or soccer or cheerleading or something like that. Well, that's why here at Valley High School, they've moved all of those inside. Behind me, you can see the boys and girls soccer teams are inside. The cheerleaders also inside. Typically, they practice outside, but because of the heat, they're inside practicing at this indoor gym. If you can't take the heat, you're not alone.
We sent out that recommendation on Sunday.
Dr. April Brooks is athletic director for Jefferson County Public Schools and monitors the weather.
So when I saw this weekend that we were going to have a big heat wave coming in this week, it was necessary for us to make sure that we took some precautions for all of our student athletes.
Dr. Brooks uses a heat stress tracker to monitor conditions outside.
And so we measure based on whether it's like over 95, we start changing things like more water breaks, getting the kids in the shade.
The heat is what drove the Valley High School soccer team from an outdoor field to an indoor gym. But the district also makes recommendations to coaches and student athletes.
Basically making sure kids have shade, that they have water, that we have our cooling towels and our immersion tubs, just in case we see signs of heat illness.
In 2008, Louisville was in the national spotlight after 15-year-old PRP student Max Gilpin died of complications from heat stroke just days after he collapsed at football practice.
Just shows how important it is to constantly be monitoring this, especially when we are dealing with a heat issue, because 1 degree difference can be life or death for an athlete.
Ali Shum is an athletic trainer for JCPS and says in addition to monitoring the temperature, it is important to know and keep an eye on student athletes.
I'm looking for extreme fatigue, which can sometimes be hard to see because everybody thinks they're tired all the time. Looking for confusion, lightheadedness, a gradual onset of a headache.
Whether it's the heat stress tracker or an ice tub, JCPS officials say they have school coverage, but also need parents to be involved.
We want to remind parents also to make sure that kids are hydrating at home and eating at home to make sure that their bodies are fueled for practices in extreme heat.
And athletics officials say the heat could also impact games later this week. So, Scott, if you're headed to any high school events, you want to check that schedule or double check that schedule before you go.
Yeah, sometimes they'll push the start times back a little so it'll cool down a little bit. But glad to see those kids are in a little air conditioning there. Thanks, Stefan.